Start the 3-in-1 Boubou that I want to show you how to cut. So for this particular tutorial, I have this lovely fabric. So it's ankara batik. So I have 4 yards here, and it's so beautiful, and I didn't want to waste it, and I want to maximize the use of this fabric. So as a designer, you need to learn how you're able to do this. So if you're on my channel, you're going to learn a lot from how to be a fashionpreneur. So to start as a designer, you really don't need to know how to cut everything. You just need to understand the basic patterns and cuts. Then you develop on it. You let your creative mind wander and take it to the places you never thought you could go. So that's what I want to help you do now on my channel. So with this fabric, I'm going to be cutting it in a way that you could wear it in 3 ways. Yes, 3 ways kaftan or 3 ways boubou. So you need to really watch this to the end, and you're going to see how versatile this could be. So after today's tutorial that I show you how to be able to do this in a 3-way dimensional, to make it a 3-way dimensional piece. Subsequently, I'll show you how you can also add stuffs to it and enhance the same boubou if you want to create a collection, you know. So we'll be talking about all that in my channel, on my channel. So I need 4 yards. 3.5 yards will do, but I have 4 yards of my ankara batik here. So I won't need all. And depending on your length, you could need just 3 yards. So you have the fabric. I need some cotton bias trimming. I need a zip, so you can get it as long as you can be as long as you want, really. But what I have here is just about, I think, 28 inches long zip. Okay, 32. So that would do. If you get 35, it's fine. And I need some ribbons as well. So I have 1.5-inch ribbon and 2 meters of that. So I'm going to put this aside, and I'm going to start cutting the 3 ways kaftan boubou. And it's a free size, so you don't need to really worry about measurements or anything else. So you also need your black thread and your scissors and your tape, to be able to cut. So now I'm going to fold this into 2. So I'm going to open up, and I'm going to try to fold this in 2. So like I said earlier, you really don't need all 4 meters. I'm going to be measuring about 3.5 meters. So if you want like a scarf, the other 3.5 yard or meter can do. You need to pardon me if I use the word meter and yards interchangeably. The reason I do that is because some people really get, worried or flustered or confused when you use yards. For African print, it comes in yards because the lengths are shorter. But for your English fabric, you get them, or the other normal fabrics, you get them in meters because of the width or longer length, sorry. So I'm going to take off this 1/2 meter. We don't need that. I'm going to keep that aside. And now I have my fabric folded into 2. So that length will do. Now, for me, I find it easier when I fold sideways. Like I want a long strip, of my fabric folded into 2 before I fold again into 2. So that will be into 4 folding, but length sideways, okay, then fold lengthwise. Why I do that is because it always helps you when you need to cut the back and the front separately. So you see what I'm doing? I'm folding that separately and I'm folding this separately. So you can have your 2 materials, and it will be easy for you to separate them to cut the neckline. So you don't need to worry much about this. You can cut it the way you like, but I like to do this. Okie dokie. So now you see I've got 2 folds there, and you can see the separation between the front and the back. That's the front bit, that's the back for me. So that way it makes it really easy. So what's next now? Once you have folded your fabrics equally, always make sure they are equally folded like so. If you don't do that, you may have uneven side or edges when you're done. Right, so we've got that and we're ready to start cutting. So to start cutting, we're going to start from the folded bit. So you see this is the closed bit and this is the open bit. So you want to start from the closed bit. So I've got my scissors, we've got our length of our 3 waist boubou or kaftan dress using our 3.5 yard batik. So this way, I'm going to measure the neckline because I want a V neckline in front. So I'm going to make that 8 inches. That's the depth. Then for the width, I'm going to make that, it depends on how wide you want it really. So I'm going to make mine 4 inches. Okay, so you just draw like a straight line. If you know you struggle drawing a straight line, then you can use a ruler. It's okay. Right. So I'm going to open up this at the top. Like that. So now we have this front and the back bit separated. So while it's separate, there's a little adjustment I'm going to make because the front is going to have a zip. So I'll need it to be a bit, you know, longer like that. So I'm going to just move it about 1/2 inch or 1 inch like that, or 2 centimeters to accommodate the folding for my zip. So if you notice, that's what I did. So I just pushed it a little more than the back. So you don't want to do that too much, just a little bit, because I want to add my zip. I want to have a zip. So I'm going to lose some length there. So that's what I've done. So now for the back bit, we may want to readjust and measure again the depth of the neckline. Wanted 4 inch or 3.5, which is somewhere there. So I'm going to cut that together. So I'm going to the back and the front about 1 inch off, like that, right? Because if you don't put it that way and you cut it separately, the neckline, you're going to have issues for the front neck piece. So hence I moved that. So now that I've moved it, I'm going to cut the neckline for the front. So yeah, that's my V. That's done. Okay, so I'll take that out. So we can open this all the way to the bottom, okay, of the boubou. So you can move that, or you move yourself and you open it, yeah, up to the bottom of the dress. So now once we've done that, we're ready for the next step, which is the shoulder slope. So I'm going to create a shoulder slope, and to do that, get my tape, and I'm going to measure about 3 inches from the top at the extreme, the other end, and I'm just going to cut all the way towards the neckline. Make sure you don't cut off the neckline, just about the tip, you end there, so that's off. I just like that, it makes it more relaxed. So now I'm just going to create my armhole. So I want it to be wide, so I'm going to make that about 13 inches or 14, because that's the beauty of a kimono or a boubou when you make one. So at this point now, that's where the arm ends. I'm just going to go in a little bit, not much, just like 1 inch, all the way to the bottom. Yeah, just take off the little bit to make the two sides equal. Yep, so I've done that. So you want to even out the end of the sleeve like so. So why I'm not really bothering is because I have the possibility of extending this. If you want it to be longer than it really is, you can add a band, which I'm probably going to do, yeah, to make it a bit, you know, longer, just to finish off that bit nicely. So for this bit now, what we're going to do is add our zip, you know, with the extra up we've gotten from the about 2 centimeters fold we're going to have in the middle. So my zip is 32 inches. So I'm going to mark from, you know, from the neckline, depth of the neckline to where the zip is going to end. So I'm going to leave it at about 31 inches. So I'm just going to notch that bit there, so that when I start to sew, I will close this up to that point and my zip stays there, right? So we can go sew. I'll sew that bit, then I'm going to use my bias trimming for the neckline. So that's settled. Now when I'll be sewing, I also want to add my satin trimming to create the illusion that I want for my boubou, to make it more versatile. I'm going to measure from the shoulder up to about 15 inches. Yeah, or yeah, 15 inches or 14 and a half, but 15 will be fine. So somewhere there. So from the allowance there, I'm going to measure 4 and a half. Depending on your size, you could measure 5 if you're plus size. But if you want it to be in universal, you know, just do 4 and a half. So I'm going to do that on the other side as well. So I just marked that. So you may be wondering, what am I going to do with that? So I'm going to add my satin trimming bias there, and that point inside the boubou, not outside. Right, so the cutting is done. It's that easy. I'm going to go sew. Now, something else you may also want to do is to also mark the sides where you want to have your slits. Okay, so it's fancy, it's nice to have a slit. So I'm just going to measure about, from the bottom, I'm going to measure about 18 inches for my slit. So I'm just going to notch that as well, so I can have a slit. It's optional really, you don't have to have one. So yeah, like I said, I want to add a band. I'm going to cut that. You can also add a pocket, it depends on you. Okay, so if you want to know how to add a pocket, I have some videos I've done in the past that shows how you can add a pocket. So for the band, I'm just going to fold my fabric like so. Now fold again to cut and fold the sleeve. So it's folded in 4, so that means just one fold gives me the sleeve for the edge of the sleeve for both sides of the 3-way or 3-dimensional boubou. So I don't want it to be too bold. About 2 inches, 2.5 inches is great. So I could use the rest as a head gear if I want to. So yep, so I've just cut that out. So I'm also going to open that up, so I have 2 pieces that will fit into the sleeve. So yeah, now I'm going to go sew, and you're going to see how you can wear this in 3 different ways.